Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and pranams. Thank you very much for joining in for our Krishna book study session today. Let's start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankajanaභaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Nanyam Tvadabhayam Pashe Yatra Mrityu Parasparam Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Twamiko Dhayamananam Apavargosi Samshrutehe Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramanandamadavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mishwaram Harihi Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Taralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Aradhya Bhagavan Rajesha Tanaya Stadham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Varge Navakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatadharana Para आई दीन दयाद्र नाथ है मथुरा नाथ कदा अवलोक्य से हृदयं त्वदलोक कातरं दैत्य भ्राम्यति किं करोम्यहम्. Hare Krishna, devotees, let's continue with our Krishna book study. We are on chapter number 71. Today we're going to continue with chapter number 71, where Krishna is going to Indraprastha. to satisfy King Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? King Yudhishthira Maharaj is making arrangements for the Rajasuya Yajna, right? He already sent Narada to check out what is happening in Indraprastha, and Narada Muni comes back and informs that King Yudhishthira Maharaj is preparing for the Rajasuya Yajna. And of course, Yudhishthira Maharaj appoints or announces that who is the major person, who's going to be the beneficiary of this Rajasuya Yajna, right? The principal person is going to be Krishna himself, right? So Krishna goes to Indraprastha to actually participate in this great sacrifice, which is known as Rajasuya Yajna, right? So let's go ahead and find out what Lord Krishna does in the Indraprastha city. So let me share my screen. Devotees can raise your hands and then we'll quickly read this. Okay, I already see Anusha Mataji's hand. Anusha Mataji ki jai. All right. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Anusha Mataji, thank you so much. I saw your updates in the YouTube channel for the key points. I'm very grateful to you, Mataji. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord
Hey.
Krishna in Indraprastha city, in the presence of the great sage Narada and all the other associates of Lord Krishna, Uddhava considered the situation and then spoke as follows. My dear Lord, first of all, let me say that the great sage Narada Muni has requested you to go to Hastinapura to satisfy King Yudhishthira, your cousin, who is making arrangements to perform the great sacrifice known as Rajasuya. I think, therefore, that your lordship should immediately go there to help the king in this great venture. However, although to accept the invitation offered by the sage Narada as primary is quite appropriate, at the same time, my lord, it is your duty to give protection to the surrendered souls. Both purposes can be served if we understand the whole situation. Unless we are victorious over all the kings, none can perform this Rajasuya sacrifice. In other words, it is to be understood that King Yudhishthira cannot perform this great sacrifice without gaining victory over the belligerent king Jarasandha. The Rajasuya sacrifice can be performed only by one who has gained victory over all directions. Therefore, to execute both purposes, we first have to kill Jarasandha. I think that if we can somehow or the other gain victory over Jarasandha, all our purposes will be automatically served. The imprisoned kings will be released, and with great pleasure, we shall enjoy the spread of your transcendental fame for having saved the innocent kings whom Jarasandha has imprisoned. But King Jarasandha is not an ordinary man. He has proved a stumbling block even to great warriors because his bodily strength is equal to the strength of 10,000 elephants. If there is anyone who can conquer this king, he is none other than Bhimasena because he also possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants. The best thing would be for Bhimasena to fight alone with him. Then there would be no unnecessary killing of many soldiers. In fact, Jarasandha will be very difficult to conquer when he stands with his Akashauhini division of soldiers. We may therefore adopt a policy more favorable to the situation. We know that King Jarasandha is very much devoted to the Brahmanas and very charitably disposed towards them. He never refuses any request from a Brahmana. I think, therefore, that Bhimasena should approach Jarasandha in the dress of a Brahmana, beg charity from him, and then personally engage in fighting him. And in order to assure Bhimasena's victory, I think that your lordship should accompany him. If the fighting takes place in your presence, I am sure Bhimasena will emerge victorious, for your presence makes everything impossible possible. Indeed, Lord Brahma creates this universe and Lord Shiva destroys it simply through your influence.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yatra yoga Krishna, yatra partho dhanurdaraha, tatra shri vijayo bhutir dhruva nitir matir mama. Krishna already, who declares this? Sanjaya declares, the last verse of Bhagavad Gita. Yatra yogeshwara Krishna, wherever the master of mystics, Krishna is there. Yatra partho dhanurdaraha, with the best amongst all of the archers, right? Yatra partho dhanurdaraha. Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhute. There, their victory, opulence, morality, etc. are already established. Right? So that's what here Narada Muni is saying, the best. And why Narada Muni is telling Krishna, right? Krishna knows everything. Right? It's in fact Narada Muni, Krishna inspired Narada Muni to actually speak these words. And also we see when and actually, even before Krishna was born, when the seventh was a daughter, right? Yeah, it was a daughter who was born actually. That's what they thought. Because Balaram was actually transferred to the womb of Rohini, right? So the child that was there was a daughter, right? So Kamsa was like, okay, maybe the Akashwani has gone wrong. Maybe there's still time. Maybe the eighth son may not be my killer. So let me just give some time. And he actually left Vasudeva and Devaki out of the prison house, right? But who was orchestrating everything? Oh my God, the time for Lord Krishna's appearance has already come. Suddenly this Kamsa has become, very wonderful, loving brother to Devaki and has released Devaki and all. So Narada goes and tells, you don't know 1 and 8, in which order, when Krishna can be born, which son can be born. Even if the child is now born to Devaki and Vasudeva, that can also be the 8th son. In that way, your life is in great danger. And Kamsa is like, okay, I did a mistake. Let me get back Devaki and Vasudeva inside the prison house. So Narada gave that idea. Why? Because the Lord's plans are revealed through his devotees. The Lord likes to reveal all of his plans through his devotees. So in that way, Narada ensured that Kamsa brought them back into the prison house, and then we had the most auspicious appearance of Lord Krishna. And you know what happened, right? Vasudeva took him to uh, Vrindavan, right? Nandagaon, like that, right? So various things happened like that because Narada Muni went and intervened like that, right? So great devotees are inspired by the Lord to intervene in certain situations so that the Lord's will is fulfilled in those cases. Right? So like that, here also Narada Muni is telling Lord Krishna. Krishna does not know. Yeah. He needs that advice from Narada Muni, because the Lord likes to hear from his devotees. The Lord likes to listen to his devotees. That's why he also asked our Ramananda Rai, right? What is the best solution? And then Ramananda Rai says Varnashrama Dharma. And then she says Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, everything. And Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, yes, very much for it. Something better, something more is there. Please share, please share. So the Lord loves to hear from his devotees, from his pure devotees especially. So in this way, Narada Muni is telling the Lord that, how Jarasandha can be killed, how Lord Krishna should accompany Bhimasen, right? And in that way, as per the plan that is given Narada Muni, Krishna, Bhimasen and Arjuna, they all disguise themselves as Brahmanas and go. Right? We all know the pastime. How Jarasandha is a son of Jara. She herself is a very expert mystic, and there were some pastimes associated with the birth of Jarasandha, so much so that whoever cuts his body into half, it will automatically join. Right? And then Krishna tells, even though they go as a Brahmana in order to avoid that the Akshoni, soldiers and all of them, so many deaths and all to avoid. They go as Brahmana, and then Bhimasen asks for, this fight with Jarasandha. So there's a one-on-one duel between Bhimasen and Jarasandha. And Jarasandha gets defeated, of course. Bhima is more powerful. But what happens when Bhima actually, he defeats the body, he defeats Jarasandha, he cuts his body into two. Right? But then the body joins together every time, and Bhima is bewildered what to do. And then Krishna says, Krishna does not tell, Krishna does an action like this. That means you divide, you split his body into two parts and throw in the opposite direction. So when it tries to join, also it cannot join. Right? So in this way, by the grace of Lord Sri Krishna, this Jarasandha is killed. And in that way, how this wonderful Rajasya Yajna is performed by King Yudhishthira Maharaj. That is the rest of the chapter. So let's quickly read this wonderful, advice given by Narada Muni to Lord Sri Krishna, how Lord Sri Krishna actually executes that, and how Jarasandha is killed. Right? Like that, we will continue this chapter. Let's request Sarvagopeshwari Mataji to go ahead and read. Actually, you create and destroy from there.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Actually, you create and destroy the entire cosmic manifestation. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are only superficially visible causes. Creation and destruction are actually performed by the invisible time factor, which is your impersonal representation. Everything is under the control of the time factor. If your invisible time factor can perform such wonderful acts through Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, will not your personal presence help Bhimasena conquer Jarasandhana? My dear Lord, when Jarasandhana killed is killed, the queens of all the imprisoned kings will be so joyful at their husbands being released by your mercy that they will all sing your glories. Be as pleased as the gopis were when released from the hands of the Shankachoda. All the great sages, the king of the elephant, Gajendra, the goddess of fortune, Sita, and even your father and mother were all delivered by your causeless mercy. We also have been thus delivered, and we always sing the transcendental glories of your activities. Therefore, I think that if the killing of Jarasandha is undertaken first, that will automatically solve many other problems. As for the Rajasuya sacrifice arranged in Astinapura, it will be held either because of the pious activities of the imprisoned kings or the impious activities of Jarasandhana. My lord, it appears that you have to go personally to Astinapura to conquer demonic kings like Jarasandhana and Shishupala, to release the pious imprisoned kings, and also to perform the great Rajasuya sacrifice. Considering all these points, I think that your lordship should immediately proceed to Hastinapura. This advice of Uddhava's was appreciated by all who were present in the assembly. Everyone considered that Lord Krishna is going to Hastinapura would be beneficial from all points of view. The great sage Narada, the elder personalities of the Edi dynasty, and the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, all supported the statements of Uddhava. That Krishna then took permission from his father Vasudeva and grandfather Ugrasena, and he immediately ordered his servants Daruka and Jaitra to arrange for travel to Astinapura. When everything was prepared, Lord Krishna especially bid farewell to Lord Balarama and the king of the Yadus, Ugrasena. And after dispatching his queens along with their children and sending their necessary luggage ahead, he mounted his chariot, which bore the flag marked with the symbol of Garuda. Before starting the procession, Lord Krishna satisfied the great sage Narada by offering him different kinds of articles of worship. Narada ji wanted to fall at the lotus feet of Krishna, but because the Lord was playing the part of a human being, he simply offered his respect within his mind. And fixing the transcendental form of the Lord within his heart, he left the assembly house by the airways. Usually, the sage Narada does not walk on the surface of the globe, but travels in the outer space. After the departure of Narada, Lord Krishna addressed the messenger who had come from the imprisoned kings and told him that they should not be worried, for he would very soon arrange to kill the king of Magadha, Jarasandhana. Thus, he wished good fortune to all the imprisoned kings and the messenger. After receiving the assurance from Lord Krishna, the messenger returned to the imprisoned kings and informed them that of the happy news of the Lord's forthcoming visit. All the kings were joyful at the news and began to wait for and very anxiously for the Lord's arrival. The chariot of Lord Krishna started for Astinapura, accompanied by many other chariots, along with elephant, cavalry, infantry, and similar royal paraphernalia. Bugles, drums, trumpets, conch shell, and horns all produced a loud, auspicious song, which vibrated to all the directions. The 16,000 kings, headed by the goddess of fortune, Rukmini Devi, the ideal wife of Lord Krishna, and accompanied by their respective sons, all followed behind Krishna. They were all dressed in costly garments and decorated with ornaments, and their bodies were smeared with sandalwood pulp and garlanded with fragrant flowers. Riding on palanquins nicely decorated with silks, flags, and golden lace, they followed their exalted husband Lord Krishna. The infantry soldiers carried shields, swords, and lances in their hand and acted as the royal bodyguards to the queens. In the rear of the procession were the wives and children of all the other followers, and there were many society girls also following. Many beasts of burden like bulls, buffalo, moles, and asses carried the camps, bedding, and carpets, and the women who followed were seated in a separate palanquins on the back of the camel. This panoramic procession was accompanied by the shouts of the people and was full with the display of different colored flags, umbrellas, and different varieties of weapons, dress, ornaments, helmets, and ornaments. Shining and in the sunlight, the procession appeared just like an ocean with high waves and storm. In this way, the Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So we see here when the Lord goes to Hastinapur, Indraprastha, very, very vivid description of the entire party, the, where who is seated, who is, carrying what in their hands, where the women are traveling, and of course, the great description of the queens of Lord Sri Krishna, especially the 16,000 queens whom were saved by Lord Sri Krishna from Narakasura, right? And who became the queens of the Lord. How they were all traveling in such a grand way to Hastinapur is being described here, right? When the Lord does anything, he does it in style, right? Because he is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? So in this way, they all go to Indraprastha. Let's see what happens. Chitra Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danat Pranam. In this way, the procession of Lord Krishna's party advanced towards Hastinapura, New Delhi, and gradually passed through the kingdoms of Anartha, Gujarat province, Sauvira, Surat, the great desert of Rajasthan, and then Kurukshetra. Between those kingdoms were many mountains, rivers, towns, villages, pasturing grounds, and mining fields. The procession passed through all these places in its advance. On his way to Hastinapura, the Lord crossed two big rivers, the Drishavati and the Saraswati. Then he crossed the provinces of Panchala and Matsya. In this way, he ultimately arrived at Hastinapura or Indraprastha. The audience of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is not at all commonplace. Therefore, when King Yudhishthira heard that Lord Krishna had arrived in his capital city, Hastinapura, he became so joyful that all his bodily hair stood on end in great ecstasy. And he immediately came out of the city to properly receive the Lord. He ordered the musical vibrations of different instruments and songs, and the learned Brahmanas of the city began to chant the hymns of the Vedas very loudly. Lord Krishna is known as Rishikesha, the master of the senses, and King Yudhishthira went forward to receive him exactly as the senses meet the consciousness of life. King Yudhishthira was the elder cousin of Krishna. Naturally, he had great affection for the Lord, and as soon as he saw him, his heart became filled with great love and affection. He had not seen the Lord for many days, and therefore he thought himself most fortunate to see the Lord present before him. The king therefore embraced Lord Krishna again and again in great affection. The eternal form of the Lord Krishna is the everlasting residence of the goddess of fortune. As soon as King Yudhishthira embraced him, he became free from all the contaminations of material existence. He immediately felt a transcendental bliss and merged in the ocean of happiness. There were tears in his eyes, and his body shook in ecstasy. He completely forgot that he was living in this material world. After this, Bhimasena, the second brother of the Pandavas, smiled and embraced Lord Krishna, thinking of him as his own maternal cousin, and thus he also merged in great ecstasy. Bhimasena was so filled with ecstasy that for the time being he forgot his material existence. Then Lord Shri Krishna himself embraced the other three Pandavas, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sakadeva. The eyes of all three brothers were inundated with tears, and Arjuna embraced Krishna again and again because they were intimate friends. The two younger Pandava brothers, after being embraced by the Lord Krishna, fell down at his lotus feet to offer their respects. Lord Krishna thereafter offered his obeisances to the Brahmanas present as well as to the elder members of the Kuru dynasty like Bhishma, Drona, and Dhritarashtra. There were many kings of different provinces, such as Kuru, Shinjaya and Kekaya and Lord Krishna duly reciprocated greetings and respects with them. The professional reciters like the Sutas, Magadas, and Bandis, accompanied by the Brahmanas, offered their respectful praise to the Lord. Performing artists like Gandharvas as well as the royal jokers began to play their Panava drums, conch shells, kettle drums, Beenas, Mridangas, and Bugles, and they exhibited their dancing art to please the Lord. Thus, the all-famous Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, entered the great city of Hastinapura, which was opulent in every respect. While Lord Krishna was entering the city, all the people talked amongst themselves about the glories of the Lord, praising his transcendental name, qualities, form, and so on.
Thank you
The
so much,
roads, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, so everyone is looking for an opportunity to glorify the Lord, right? And what better opportunity than when Krishna is coming to Hastinapura with in such wonderful entourage, right? All the queens, 16,000 queens, and all of the cattle and the women folk and everybody is coming in separate chariots, some being driven by camels, and in this way the Lord is coming to Hastinapura. And when Yudhishthira Maharaj heard about Lord Sri Krishna's arrival in Hastinapura, immediately he is going and offered. He wanted to offer his obeisances, right? Yad yad acharati shreshtas tattat evetro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. So Yudhishthira Maharaj knew that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna himself. Yet, when Krishna saw Yudhishthira Maharaj, he offered his obeisances to Yudhishthira Maharaj, because Yudhishthira Maharaj is elder to Lord Sri Krishna, and he again offered obeisances to Bhima, right? And he embraced Arjuna because both of them are of the same age. And then Nakula and Sahadeva, they offered obeisances to Lord Sri Krishna. So like that, Krishna, had this loving reciprocation according to the age, the normal custom, how we take the blessings of our elders and then we bless our, those who are younger to us. Like that, in the normal way, Krishna was having loving reciprocation with everyone who came to meet and welcome him to Indraprastha, right? Of course, the Lord did not do this. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is worshipped even by Brahma and Shiva, right? They also worship him. So it is not about the age. Krishna is always looking like, Nava Yauvanam. He is always looking like a fresh youth, right? Very handsome, right? Brahma is always depicted with a beard, right? Because his lifetime is so much, is so long, right? That some people who don't have proper knowledge think that, Brahma is eternal. Brahma never dies, right? But those who understand the scriptures, they know that Brahma lives long, but his life is also subject to an end. Anybody who's taken a material body, the expiry date is already given along with the birth date. It's only that we don't know the expiry date, right? So in this way, when Krishna entered the city, all of them offered obeisances. Krishna offered obeisances to his elders, and there was loving reciprocation as Lord Sri Krishna was welcomed, and everyone was praising the transcendental names, qualities, pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Right? So whenever the Lord's glories are sung, that means Krishna is personally present. Right? The other day I was telling about the story of the Alvars. Right? How in a small room, one person was there, another person came. There was only room for 3 people. 3 people had already come in, and they were discussing about the glories of the Lord. It was raining outside, so they got into that room and they started speaking about the Lord. And then finally they saw that the Lord, somebody was crunching and trying to get in, and there's no space even to stand. It was such a small room, right? They found that, Krishna himself has entered into the room, because Krishna likes to hear his own glories. Krishna likes to see his own reflection, and he wonders, who is this person, right? So to give Krishna pleasure, the Yogamaya also acts accordingly. That Krishna forgets, Krishna does not understand who is the person's reflection that he's so much attracted to. So Krishna likes to hear his glories, and Krishna loves that his devotees sing his glories. So like this, Alvars were singing the glories of Krishna, and Krishna came without permission. He was there. So like that, whenever we sing the glories of the Lord, when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when we glorify the Lord, then we can be rest assured that Krishna is personally present there, right? So in that way, in that mood, for the pleasure of the Lord, whenever we do an activity, Krishna is personally present to receive the glorification, to bless us, like that. All right, let's move ahead. The roads, streets. Okay, Srimati Shamapriya Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. The roads, streets, and lanes of Hastinapura were all sprinkled with fragrant water through the trunks of intoxicated elephants. In different places of the city, there were colorful festoons and flags decorating the houses and streets. At important crossroads, there were gates with golden decorations, and at the two sides of the gate, there were golden water jugs. These beautiful decorations glorified the opulence of the city. Participating in this great ceremony, all the citizens gathered here and there, dressed in colorful new clothing and decorated with ornaments, flower garlands, and fragrant scents. The houses were all illuminated by hundreds and thousands of lamps placed at different corners of the cornice, walls, columns, bases, and architraves, and from far away, the rays of the lamps appeared to be celebrating the festival of Deepavali, a particular festival observed on the New Year's Day of the Hindu calendar. Within the walls of the houses, fragrant incenses was burning, and smoke rose through the windows, making the entire atmosphere very pleasing. On top of every house, flags were flapping, and the golden water pots kept on the roofs shone brilliantly. Lord Krishna thus entered the city of Pandavas, enjoyed the beautiful atmosphere, and slowly proceeded ahead. When the young girls in every house heard that Lord Krishna, the only object worth seeing, was passing on the road, they were very eager to see this all famous personality. Their hair loosened and they tightened the saris became slack due to their hastily rushing to see him. They gave up their household engagements, and those who were lying in the bed with their husbands immediately left them and came directly onto the street to see Lord Krishna. The processions of elephants, horses, chariots, and infantry was very crowded. Some of the girls, being unable to see properly in the crowd, got up on the roofs of the houses. Pleased to see Lord Sri Krishna passing with his thousands of queens, they showered flowers on the procession, embraced the Lord Krishna with their minds, and gave him a hearty reception. When they saw him in the midst of his many queens, like the full moon situated amidst many luminaries, they began to talk amongst themselves. One girl said to another, "My dear friend, it is very difficult to guess what kind of pious activities these queens have performed, for they are always enjoying the smiling face and loving glance of Krishna." When Lord Krishna was thus passing on the road, at the intervals, some of the citizens who were all rich and respectable and freed from sinful activities, presented auspicious articles to the Lord just to offer him a reception to the city. Thus they worshipped him as humble servitors. When Lord Krishna entered the palace, all the ladies there were overwhelmed with affection. Just upon seeing him, they immediately received Lord Krishna with glittering eyes.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna ji.
Yeah. Sorry, Mataji, I was on mute. So I was just thinking, the last two paragraphs we can ask Karpaguli Mataji to read. So here we see here, while Lord Krishna was passing on the road, right, what were everybody doing? They were presenting auspicious articles to the Lord, somewhere glorifying the Lord, somewhere singing the glories of the Lord. Everyone got into the roofs of their houses and were looking at the Lord. Right, even the women, whatever they were doing, they were rushing out to take darshan of the Lord. Right, sometimes it also happens in our home also. Right, sometimes there is this. Um, the Utsava Vigraha, right? They take the deity on procession, right? Especially it happens a lot in South India, very regularly, right? Where the deities from the temple are taken on an Urvalam, they say, procession. They go around the entire streets and then they go back like that, right? So in that way, when the Lord comes, and what do? Whether we are half cooking or this thing, everything, we switch off our gas and we run down to take darshan of the Lord, offer obeisances, by do arati, take blessings, and then we come back and then we do our cooking like that, right? So in this way, everybody rushed down. Whatever they were doing, they left everything. They parked everything for the time being, ran down, took darshan of the Lord, worshipped the deities, worship the Lord. The deities are the form of the Lord only, right? Who's assumed the form of this Ashtadhatu, the Vigraha form, for us to reciprocate, right? But now these people, they were so fortunate to see Lord Sri Krishna himself personally. And those who understood who is Krishna, and this is Lord Sri Krishna himself, how much they would be feeling so fortunate to have the darshan of the Lord, right? So they all came, offered nice, wonderful reception to the Lord, presented auspicious articles to the Lord, and they all glorified the Lord to the pleasure of all the people present there, and of course to the pleasure of the Lord, like that. Okay, last two paragraphs, Karpaguli Mataji, go ahead. When Lord Sri Krishna entered the palace from there.
Mataji, thank you, Mata Dandatma. When Lord Krishna entered the palace, all the ladies They were overwhelmed with affection just upon seeing him. They immediately received Lord Krishna with glittering eyes, expressing their love and affection for him. And Lord Krishna smiled and accepted their feelings and gestures of reception. When Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas, saw her nephew, Lord Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, she was overpowered by love and affection. She at once got up from her bedside and appeared before him and with her daughter-in-law Draupadi, and in maternal love and affection she embraced him. As Maharaja Yudhishthira brought Krishna within the palace, the king became so confused in his jubilation and he practically forgot what he has to do at the time to receive Krishna and worship him properly. Lord Krishna delightfully offered his respects and obeisances to Kunti and other elder ladies of the palace. His younger sister Subhadra was also standing there with Draupadi, and both offered their respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Lord. At the indication of her mother-in-law, Draupadi brought clothing, ornaments, and garlands, and with this paraphernalia, they received the queens Rukmani, Satyabhama, Bhadra, Jambavati, Kalindi, Mitravinda, Lakshmana, and the devoted Satya. These principal queens of Lord Krishna were first received, and then their other queens were also offered a proper reception. King Yudhishthira arranged for Queen Krishna's rest and saw to it that all who came along with him, namely his queens, soldiers, ministers, and secretaries, were comfortably situated. He had arranged that they could experience a new feature of reception every day while staying as guests of the Pandavas. It was during this time that Lord Krishna, with the help of Arjuna, allowed the fire god Agni to devour the Kantava forest for his satisfaction. During the forest prayer, Krishna saved the demon Mayasura, who was hiding in the forest. Upon being saved, Mayasura felt obliged to the Pandavas and the Lord Krishna, and he constructed a wonderful assembly house within the city of Hastinapura. To please King Yudhishthira, Lord Krishna remained in the city of Hastinapura for several months. During his stay, he enjoyed strolling here and there. He used to drive on chariots with Arjuna, and many warriors and soldiers used to follow them. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta Purport 71st chapter of Krishna, Lord Krishna in Indraprastha city. Thank you, Mataji. Dandatnam.
So in this way, Lord Krishna entered the Indraprastha city, and to the pleasure of all the people who welcomed, received him, offered auspicious articles, and finally it also ended with the pastime, which we read already. How Mayasura, right? He actually he escaped because that time Agni wanted to devour the Khandava Prastha. At that time, Mayasura was saved by Yudhishthira Maharaj. So to help Yudhishthira Maharaj, he built a very nice assembly, right? In gratitude to Yudhishthira Maharaj, he built this assembly house within Hastinapura, right? So, and Lord Krishna also stayed in Hastinapura for several months, right? Now the Rajasuya Yajna will happen, right? Where Krishna will be the prime beneficiary of the Yajna. What is that? Yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Right? All the yajnas that we do, whether it is Harinam Sankirtan yajna or it's Ashwamedha yajna, whatever yajna, Rajasuya yajna, whatever yajna is performed, everything has to be done for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then all of the yajnas become successful. So in this way, Rajasuya yajna will be performed after Krishna kills Jarasandha, right? In the way that, he enlightens Bhima, right? How to throw the body in the opposite directions, right? And that way, Bhima kills Jarasandha, and then this most auspicious Rajasuya Yajna is performed, and how Shishupala, he blasphemes Krishna, and he's got a benediction. 100 times he'll be forgiven. And then how Krishna tolerates the 100th time, and then he kills Shishupal. So all of these wonderful pastimes you'll be reading. There are 90 chapters. You are close to 7. You are in the 72nd chapter. So we hope that by, say, Gaur Purnima, or by Ramanavami, we complete this, and then we'll start our next book, which will be about 18th or 19th book of Srila Prabhupada's. So thank you very much. My sincere gratitude to all the devotees. About 15 devotees have joined today. My sincere gratitude to all of you. Because of all of you, we've been consistently studying Srila Prabhupada's books. It's very, very enlivening. It is very enlightening. It is very glorious. It is very blissful to study the pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, study the Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of the devotees. So my sincere gratitude to all of you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhu bhyaivacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo, namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Jagadguru श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. Thank you, devotees. Please switch on your cameras as we do Harinam Sankirtan. And today we are ending on time. If we're ending ahead of time, in fact, 1:55, right? So devotees will be happy. At least sometimes Medhavani ends her classes on time. Huh? Namma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jai Balodeva Jai Subhadra Jaya Sudarshan Jaya Balagopal Jaya Rukmini Vidhal Jai Prahlad Narsinga Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Ram Sundar Radha Madhava Radha Gopinath Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe 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 Shri Radhe Jaya Sadgoswami Jai Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय कलियुग पतित पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय कलियुग पतित पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ऑल ग्लोरीज assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा all glories to the assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा all glories to the assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा all glories all glories श्री श्री गुरु and श्री गौरंगा ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय निताई गौरा प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा सो थैंक यू डिवोटीज आई सी चित्र कृष्ण सेविनी माताजी शोभा माताजी कर्पगवली माताजी श्रीधर प्रभु हरजीत माताजी राजेश्वरी माताजी अनुषा माताजी प्रणव प्रभु जी अर्चना माताजी अनुराधा लीला माताजी सर्वगोपेश्वरी माताजी Amritmayi Mataji and all the devotees. We're not switching on your cameras. Anyways, thank you very much for joining in. And Karpavali Mataji is asking me, what are the comments and what are the key points? So please go to the YouTube channel where we can see Anusha Mataji's wonderful summarization, the key points. You know what, I'm taking 1.5 hours. Mataji is like, give you 5 minutes. It does not mean you don't join on the Zoom session. You have to tolerate me for 1 hour of Zoom session, and then you have to do a quick recap by seeing Anusha Mataji's key points, right? So you can visit the YouTube channel. We thank Anusha Mataji for a very, very wonderful summarization. Very grateful to you. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितरां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल. Thank you, devotees. Meet you all tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock for the Brahma Murta chanting session. And then we continue with chapter number 73, I believe, 72, 73. We continue with chapter number 72, the liberation of King Jarasandha, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Please do join us. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada.